comedy killed them. No, really. The same brilliant minds that left audiences in stitches were slowly unraveling behind the scenes. From the manic energy of Robin Williams to the raw power of Sam Kinison, discover how these icons lived on the razor's edge between hilarity and tragedy. Warning, these stories will leave you gasping, not from laughter, but from shock. The rise and fall of John Belushi. He was born on January 24, 1949, in Chicago to Albanian immigrant parents. John Belushi discovered his comedic talent early, performing in high school productions. In 1971, Belushi joined the Second City comedy troupe in Chicago, where he honed his skills for 2 years. His work there caught the attention of National Lampoon magazine, leading to his involvement in the National Lampoon Radio Hour in 1973, alongside future SNL castmates Gilda Radner and Bill Murray. In 1975, Belushi became part of the original Saturday Night Live SNL cast. His characters like Samurai Futaba and the Blues Brothers quickly made him a standout. Belushi's impersonations, including Joe Cocker, Marlon Brando, and Elizabeth Taylor, became audience favorites. His partnership with Dan Aykroyd produced memorable sketches and later led to their film collaboration. Belushi's film career took off with 1978's National Lampoon's Animal House, grossing over $141 million. The film's success catapulted Belushi to movie stardom. He followed with 1,941 Inches, 1979, directed by Steven Spielberg, which, despite its mixed reception, showcased Belushi's growing star power. In 1980, The Blues Brothers hit theaters, expanding on the popular SNL sketch and becoming a cult classic. Despite his success, Belushi struggled with substance abuse. His cocaine use escalated, affecting his work and relationships. Colleagues noted his dedication, but also his increasingly reckless lifestyle. His final movie, Neighbors, 1981, reflected his declining health and erratic behavior. Friends and family attempted interventions, but Belushi's addiction continued to worsen. On March 5, 1982, Belushi was found dead from a speedball overdose at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles. He was 33. The entertainment industry was shocked by his sudden death. Kathy Smith, a singer and drug dealer, later admitted to injecting Belushi with the fatal dose. She was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and served 15 months in prison. The enigma of Chris Farley. He was born February 15, 1964, in Madison, Wisconsin. Chris Farley grew up in a middle-class family and attended Marquette University, where he played rugby and discovered his love for comedy. After college, he performed with the Arc Improv Theater Group and worked at his father's oil company before joining Chicago's Second City Theater in 1988. Farley's talent caught the eye of SNL producer Lorne Michaels, who hired him as a cast member in 1990. His energetic physical comedy made him an instant hit. Characters like Matt Foley, the motivational speaker, became iconic. His willingness to throw himself into physical gags, often literally, endeared him to audiences. He formed a popular duo with David Spade, leading to their film collaborations. In 1995, Farley left SNL for a film career. His first starring role in Tommy Boy, 1995, grossed over $32 million and established him as a leading man in comedy. He followed with Black Sheep, 1996, and Beverly Hills Ninja, 1997, which further showcased his physical comedy skills. At the time of his death, Farley had been cast as the voice of Shrek in the animated film, having recorded about 85% of the character's dialogue before the role was recast. Despite professional success, Farley battled severe addiction and weight issues. He attended rehab 17 times, but struggled to maintain sobriety. Friends and colleagues, including Chris Rock and Lorne Michaels, expressed concern about his health and lifestyle. Farley's idol was John Belushi, and many noted alarming parallels between their lives and struggles. On December 18, 1997, Farley's brother John found him dead in his Chicago apartment. The cause was a speedball overdose, a combination of cocaine and morphine. He was 33, the same age as Belushi at his death. The complex life of Phil Hartman. He was born September 24, 1948 in Brantford, Ontario. His family moved to the United States when he was 10. Before comedy, Phil Hartman worked as a graphic designer, creating album covers for bands like Poco, America, and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. This early career gave him a keen eye for visual presentation that would later influence his comedy. In 1975, Hartman joined the Los Angeles comedy group The Groundlings, where he met future SNL co-star Jon Lovitz. Hartman's talent for impressions and character work quickly made him a standout. He co-wrote the screenplay for the cult film Pee-wee's Big Adventure, 1985, with Paul Reubens, kickstarting his Hollywood career. After leaving SNL in 1994, Hartman starred as Bill McNeil on NBC's News Radio. He also voiced Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz on The Simpsons, along with numerous other voice acting roles in animated series and commercials. His ability to inhabit different characters made him one of the most versatile performers of his generation. Despite professional success, Hartman's personal life was turbulent. His third marriage to Bryn Omdahl was marked by conflict and her substance abuse. Friends noted Hartman often served as a stabilizing influence in their relationship. On May 28, 1998, Bryn, under the influence of cocaine and alcohol, shot Hartman while he slept in their Encino, California home. She then took her own life hours later. Their 2 children were in the house but unharmed. Hartman was 49. The mysterious death of Andy Kaufman. He was born January 17, 1949 in New York City. From a young age, Andy Kaufman was drawn to performing, staging shows for his family and friends. He began his career performing Elvis impersonations at comedy clubs in the early 1970s, quickly gaining attention for his unconventional style. Kaufman's unique brand of comedy caught the eye of Saturday Night Live producers, leading to multiple appearances on the show. His performances often left audiences unsure whether to laugh or feel uncomfortable, a deliberate tactic Kaufman employed. He famously read The Great Gatsby aloud until the audience left and performed as his obnoxious lounge singer alter ego, Tony Clifton. In 1978, Kaufman gained wider fame as Latka Gravas on the sitcom Taxi. Despite the show's success, Kaufman often expressed frustration with the constraints of sitcom acting. He continued to pursue his brand of performance art, including a series of concerts where he performed as Elvis and invited the audience to touch him. Kaufman was known for blurring the lines between reality and performance. His most famous stunt was a long-running feud with professional wrestler Jerry Lawler. Their confrontation on Late Night with David Letterman in 1982 was believed by many to be real, though it was later revealed to be staged. Kaufman also wrestled women as part of his act, offering a $1,000 prize to any woman who could pin him. In 1983, Kaufman was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer. True to his nature, many people, including some close to him, believed this to be another elaborate hoax. He sought alternative treatments, including a highly publicized trip to the Philippines for psychic surgery. Kaufman continued performing despite his declining health, refusing to publicly acknowledge his illness. On May 16, 1984, Kaufman died at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. He was 35. Due to his history of elaborate hoaxes, many fans believed his death was faked, expecting him to return years later. The speculation continued for decades, fueled by occasional statements from Kaufman's brother and associates. Years later, his partner Lynn Margulies and friend Bob Zmuda confirmed Kaufman had indeed passed away, hoping to put the rumors to rest. The turbulent story of Freddie Prinze. He was born Frederick Carl Prietzel on June 22, 1954, in New York City, to a Puerto Rican mother and German father. Growing up in Washington Heights, Freddie Prinze discovered his talent for comedy early, often using humor to deal with the challenges of his multicultural background. He attended the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts, where he began to hone his comedic skills. Prinze began performing stand-up at the Improv in New York as a teenager, quickly gaining attention for his sharp wit and charismatic stage presence. In 1973, at the age of 19, he made his network debut on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. His performance was so well received that Carson invited him to the couch, a rare honor for a first-time guest. This appearance catapulted Prinze to national attention. In 1974, at the age of 20, Prinze landed the lead role in Chico and the Man opposite Jack Albertson. The show was an immediate hit, making Prinze one of the first Latino actors to star in a successful primetime television series. Despite his rapid rise to fame, Prinze struggled with the pressures of stardom. He battled depression and developed a severe drug addiction, particularly to cocaine. His behavior became increasingly erratic, affecting his work and personal relationships. Prince's marriage to Catherine Cochran in 1975 was tumultuous, and they separated in 1976. On January 28, 1977, following a phone call with his estranged wife, Prinze shot himself in his Los Angeles apartment. He was rushed to the UCLA Medical Center, but died the next day. Prinze was only 22 years old. Initially ruled a suicide, a civil case later changed the official cause of death to accidental due to the influence of drugs. Prinze's death shocked the entertainment industry and his fans. He left behind a son, Freddie Prinze Jr., who was less than a year old at the time and later followed in his father's footsteps as an actor. The Haunted Life of Robin Williams. He was born July 21, 1951 in Chicago, Illinois. The only child of an auto executive and a former model, Robin Williams grew up in a wealthy suburb of Detroit. He was a quiet child who came out of his shell when he began participating in high school drama. Williams attended Claremont Men's College to study political science, but left to pursue acting, studying at College of Marin and later winning a scholarship to the prestigious Juilliard School in New York. Williams's career in stand-up comedy began in the mid-1970s in San Francisco's comedy club circuit. His rapid-fire improvisational style quickly set him apart. In 1978, he landed the role of the alien Mork in a guest appearance on Happy Days, which led to the spin-off series Mork and Mindy, 1978 to 1982. The show's success catapulted Williams to stardom and showcased his unique comedic talents. His film career included diverse roles that demonstrated his range as an actor. Notable films included Good Morning Vietnam, 1987, Dead Poets Society, 1989, Awakenings, 1990, The Fisher King, 1991, Aladdin, 1992, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, and Good Will Hunting, 1997, for which he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Throughout his career, Williams performed on several USO tours, entertaining troops overseas, a cause close to his heart. Despite his professional success, Williams battled addiction and depression for much of his life. He struggled with cocaine and alcohol abuse in the early 1980s, but achieved sobriety for 2 decades before relapsing in 2003. He was open about his struggles, often incorporating them into his stand-up routines and using his experiences to connect with audiences on a deeper level. In 2014, Williams was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. However, an autopsy would later reveal that he had been suffering from Lewy body dementia, a progressive brain disorder that can cause hallucinations and mood changes. On August 11, 2014, Williams was found dead in his home in Tiburon, California. The cause was suicide by hanging. He was 63 years old. The eccentric career of Richard Pryor. He was born December 1, 1940 in Peoria, Illinois. Raised in his grandmother's brothel, Pryor's difficult childhood would later inform his raw, honest comedy style. After a stint in the Army, he began performing in clubs in his hometown before moving to New York City in 1963. His early performances at the Apollo Theater and various comedy clubs in New York helped refine his craft. In the late 1960s, Richard Pryor moved to California and began to develop his unique voice as a comedian. His early career included appearances on shows like The Ed Sullivan Show and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. However, feeling constrained by the clean-cut image required for mainstream television, Pryor decided to change his approach, developing a more controversial and personal style. By the 1970s, Pryor had become a major star with groundbreaking comedy albums. That Nigger's Crazy, 1974, won the Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album, as did Bicentennial Nigger, 1976. These albums showcased Pryor's willingness to tackle taboo subjects, particularly race relations in America, with unflinching honesty and humor. Pryor's film career included hits like Silver Streak, 1976, Which Way Is Up, 1977, and Stir Crazy, 1980, the latter directed by Sidney Poitier and co-starring Gene Wilder, with whom Pryor formed a popular comedic duo. In 1979, Pryor visited Kenya and publicly denounced his use of the N-word, marking a significant shift in his material. On June 9, 1980, while freebasing cocaine, Pryor set himself on fire, suffering severe burns over 50% of his body. This near-death experience became a turning point. After a lengthy recovery, Pryor incorporated the incident into his stand-up routine, transforming a traumatic event into powerful, introspective comedy. His 1982 comeback special, Live on the Sunset Strip, is considered one of his greatest performances. In 1986, Pryor was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Despite his declining health, he continued to perform and appear in films. His autobiographical film, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, was released in 1986, offering a fictionalized account of his life and struggles. In 1998, Pryor became the first recipient of the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Richard Pryor died of a heart attack on December 10, 2005, at the age of 65. Tragic fall of Sam Kinison. He was born December 8, 1953, in Yakima, Washington. Raised in a religious family, Sam Kinison followed in his father's footsteps and became a Pentecostal preacher in his teens. However, after his first marriage ended in divorce, Kinison left the ministry and turned to comedy, moving to Houston to pursue a career on the stand-up circuit. Kinison's transition to comedy in the early 1980s was marked by his unique style, a combination of his preacher's delivery and shocking confrontational material. His breakthrough came in 1985 with an appearance on HBO's Rodney Dangerfield's 9th annual Young Comedians special. This led to his first appearance on Late Night with David Letterman, where his explosive style immediately set him apart. His debut comedy album, Louder Than Hell, was released in 1986 and showcased his trademark scream and controversial material. Kinison quickly gained notoriety for his no-holds-barred approach to taboo subjects like religion, relationships, and drug use. He appeared in the film Back to School, 1986, alongside Rodney Dangerfield, introducing him to an even wider audience. Kinison became a regular on The Howard Stern Show and made music video cameos, collaborating with bands like Motley Crue and Anthrax. His 1988 Grammy-nominated comedy album, Have You Seen Me Lately?, further cemented his status as a comedy icon. Kinison's rise to fame was meteoric, but it came with a price. Despite his success, Kinison struggled with drug and alcohol addiction throughout his career. His wild lifestyle was legendary in Hollywood circles, often interfering with his work. Friends and fellow comedians frequently expressed concern about his health and behavior. Kinison made attempts to get sober but consistently relapsed. On April 10, 1992, Kinison was driving to a sold-out show in Laughlin, Nevada, with his new wife, Malika Suiri, whom he had married just 6 days earlier. Their car was hit head-on by a pickup truck driven by 17-year-old Troy Pearson, who had been drinking. Kinison, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, suffered severe head injuries. He died at the scene, reportedly speaking to someone unseen and saying, "I don't want to die before he passed." He was 38 years old. The untimely death of Gilda Radner. She was born June 28, 1946, in Detroit, Michigan. The youngest child of a well-to-do family, Gilda Radner developed her comedic talents early, often using humor to cope with her struggles with eating disorders. She briefly attended the University of Michigan before dropping out to follow her boyfriend to Canada, where her comedy career began to take shape. Radner's big break came in 1975 when she became one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live, SNL. She quickly became a fan favorite, creating beloved characters like Roseanne Rosanna-Dana, Emily Litella, and Baba Wawa, a parody of Barbara Walters. Her ability to blend physical comedy with sharp wit made her one of the show's standout performers. She won an Emmy Award for her work on SNL in 1978. In 1979, Radner met actor Gene Wilder while filming the comedy Hanky Panky. Though both were married to other people at the time, they fell in love and eventually married in 1984. This period saw Radner transition away from television, focusing on her one-woman Broadway show, Gilda Radner, Live from New York, and film projects, often alongside Wilder. In 1986, after experiencing persistent fatigue and pain, Radner was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She underwent aggressive treatment, including surgery and chemotherapy. During this time, she wrote her autobiography, It's Always Something, documenting her battle with the disease with her characteristic humor and honesty. Radner briefly went into remission and attempted to revive her career, even planning a guest appearance on It's Gary Shandling Show in 1988. However, her cancer returned, and she was unable to film the episode. Throughout her illness, Radner advocated for increased awareness of ovarian cancer and the importance of early detection. On May 20th, 1989, Radner passed away from ovarian cancer. She was 42 years old. Her death marked the end of a remarkable career that brought joy and laughter to countless fans. Despite her illness, Radner's courage and humor remained steadfast, inspiring many. Her legacy continues to influence comedians and cancer survivors alike, reminding the world of her indomitable spirit and the joy she spread throughout her life.